This giant Grimlock statue from Transformers is over 100 pounds. Luckily, he came in right before the year ended. And I say that was lucky because he was one of my most anticipated statues in 2021. So if he didn't come in, that would have made me a liar. But I'm not a liar. Santa Claus is totally real, and you are in good hands with our government. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we're giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Hey guys, welcome to the Extreme channel. My name is Mr. X, and today we're reviewing one of my long-awaited pieces from XM Studios. This is a 1/10 scale, meaning in real life, Grimlock should be 10 times bigger. I'm not so sure about that. I think it would be a lot bigger.
That's what she said!
So as I said, this is Grimlock. He is a Dinobot or an Autobot. He is part of the good guys of the Transformers. And this is Generation 1, kind of what we call the OG or the old school. The Transformers that I grew up with in the 80s and 90s. And he's not my first Transformers piece. I have about 15 of them. About half of them are Generation 1 like this piece. Check out the Starscream right here, one of my favorite pieces. I also have XM Studios Soundwave in transit right now. I think it arrives tomorrow. Then I have a number of Bay-formers. So the Michael Bay Transformers from those awesome movies. See, I'm not a liar. But today we're going to do an in-depth review before this guy actually breaks my table. You can see my turntable here keeps turning around because it can't even support the weight. And I was highly anticipated this guy, and I'm going to let you know right now, he does not disappoint in any way. Now, I plan to put him next to Devastator, this giant piece from Imaginary Marts right here. Very, very cool piece. Now, if you want to see what that looks like, make sure to follow my social media. There's a link in the description below for Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and the Extreme Channel webpage. And if you want to see the rest of the display, because over the last few months, I've completely redone the basement here, make sure you've not only liked this video, but you've subscribed to the channel and hit that bell notification. Because we have some room tours coming up, starting with an office tour on Christmas Day. But enough of that, let's get into Grimlock. Arguably one of the top 5 biggest characters or statues that I've ever had. Now we're going to start with concept with this piece. Now what I love about XM Studios is while these are Generation 1, they've added a little bit of a twist, and they also add a proximity piece. We're going to talk about both of those things. Here you have a rock-like base like they do on all of their pieces. And not only that, but there is some type of broken spaceship or something of that nature that's mixed in. Almost some Cybertronian pieces, so you think this is on their planet Cybertron. Or maybe another planet altogether, maybe he crash landed here. Because remember, Transformers are aliens from another planet. So among all that wreckage, you have Grimlock in his huge pose, just menacing and monstrous. And what I love about this is on these Transformer pieces, they are all in the robotic or humanoid form. But you can see a lot of the wheels and gears and mechanisms throughout the entire statue that not only show that it is a robot, does have that mechanical aspect to it, but also you can see a lot of pieces of what he transforms into. And Grimlock was the leader of the Dinobots. He transformed into the king of the dinosaurs, a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Autobot symbol is on him. He is armored up on top, and here he is brandishing 2 different weapons, a giant gun in the left hand, a blade in the right hand. We do have some switch out options we're going to look at. Absolutely phenomenal. And of course, not only is he phenomenal as he is, but as you know, XM Studios offers companion proximity pieces. Here is the T-Rex. They all have this museum-style base that is optional. And I like that they do this. You know, realistically, it does look weird because the scale is obviously completely different. But this is still pretty badass, and it gives you a sense of who the character transforms into. And you can see a lot of those similar functions. So concept on him, it's like the rest of them. There's a little bit of movement to the statue, but not much because it's hard to do that with such a big statue. So I think the concept is a 5 out of 5 on the extreme scale. Design. This is big, and it took Mrs. X and I a while. We actually had to use 2 people to put it together. And then we ended up having sex right on top of it during it. So I can't show you that video, but you can check out XM Studios' assembly video right here. It's definitely not as good though. But let's check out the packaging at least. 2 giant boxes, which is expected. One weighed 80, 90 pounds. The other one was like 50, 60, because the packaging does weigh a lot. You see the traditional XM Studios box. There is a little bit of artwork on the top and on the sides here. Now the first box had only one layer that consisted of parts of Grimlock. The second box had a lot more parts. On the first layer, including some of the dinosaur, and of course the giant base in the second layer. Now, assembly honestly wasn't that difficult other than the size and weight of him. It was pretty easy to figure out. I think XM Studios did a really good job with that. And their video is extremely helpful as well. Now, here are the different display options. On the left arm, you can have his hand hanging down to the side and his palm open. This is the most boring, so I actually put this back in the box. Because the other option is him brandishing this giant gun. His right arm has two equally cool options. One is brandishing a sword, and the other one is a mace or a club that he's kind of holding behind him. Maybe he's ready to swing, maybe he's resting it. There is only one portrait that you see here, but it does have a light-up feature using the standard watch batteries. I think it would have been cool if there were a few more light-up features, but I can get over that. I think it's awesome they offer the proximity piece. Everything fit together extremely well. I don't think you need another portrait on this guy either. So really, I don't see anywhere to improve on the design, with maybe one exception, which I don't really want to hold it against them. Let's take a look at the size.
Hey, that's what she said.
The widest point is probably about 29, maybe 30 inches. It's hard to tell because it's not an exact form. It juts out in different places. You are probably over 33 inches high. For exact dimensions, you can check it out on XM Studios' website. And maybe 20 inches deep. I'm probably way off. It's just difficult to tell because it juts out in different places. Even the sword and the gun obviously go a lot deeper as well. So I don't think that's a flaw, but it is something to consider when you think of displayability. So I think the design is a 4 out of 5. Almost a 5 out of 5. Paint and sculpt, XM knocked it out of the park with one exception that we're going to talk about. Check it out. On the miniaturized T-Rex proximity piece here, I'm going to have a lot of the same comments that I do on the actual robotic form of Grimlock, because as you can see, you have a lot of the same mechanisms. Whether that is the armored plating, that's a mix between this gold, or sorry, not gold, but dark gray and silver color. And then the red and faded yellow / gold, dirty pieces, a lot of cool weathering. But I love how there's layering on this, and you'll see that on Grimlock as well, but it really shows how you could take a robotic figure and kind of transform it so it can still move. So I think they did a really nice job with that stuff. The base is the same that it is on all those other proximity pieces. And even the spikes down the back, they're more of a gold than they are of a yellow, but you see some of the boosters, so still some of the robotic parts, but definitely believable as a dinosaur. Without skin at least. But I even like the inside of the mouth. They do have the tongue, smaller teeth there. I love those spikes going down the back. So this one is pretty cool. But as you move up to Grimlock, a lot going on. Big miss in my opinion with the paint and sculpt is the base. This rock, it's too smooth, and the paint really doesn't help it, but it's mostly the sculpt on it. I really like a little bit more texture, almost a gravelly type tone. So I'm not a fan of that rock at all. And then down here, this is kind of those Cybertronian elements I was talking about, very similar to what the proximity piece is sitting on, kind of a honeycomb pattern. And you see that throughout everywhere. You're gonna see that in his knees, his eyes. There's kind of that fallen ship, and a lot of weathering on this, that black shading to really make it look like whether it was a spaceship crash or something of that nature. And so many different colors. They're mostly dark colors. Here you have this gold brown color on the back of this part rising up, and this is also on some of their other statues. But even like the boosters here, so they added this gold effect and orange effect to almost look like it's on. It looks really good on camera. It doesn't look as good in real life. Usually that's kind of the opposite. And then they have this chain, not chain, but kind of this tentacle wrapping around the back of it. I like that. And again, on the back booster here, see, this is where it fails a little bit on that orange and yellow. A hose right there. Boosters. So on Grimlock, you see a lot of pieces that are referenced to Grimlock himself or some type of robotic transformation, which is pretty cool, whether it's gears or pistons or wheels, vents, screws. Here's another of that honeycomb pattern on his knees that I was talking about. And you're going to see it on his eyes as well and a little bit on his chest. But I love all the inner workings here. This is one of my favorite parts of Transformers statues. So awesome. And then as you move up, I like how the red and gold pieces really give it that coloring so it's not so monotonous. There's some wires in there, just tons of detail everywhere you go. And you can tell that this used to be a dinosaur. Listen to the motor on my turntable. So you see it right there. There is actually the portrait, the T-Rex portrait. Part of it's hard to get a good angle on it because of the side wings here that actually have the claws for the T-Rex up top. And all this is in the back, which you won't see, but it's kind of cool, the wings expanding. So it's a little bit more believable that it could be a true transformation. A lot of weathering throughout the entire statue. This may be the last day for my turntable to be alive. So let's move up to the torso here. A lot of cool stuff going on. Different colors of yellow really make this pop. You have the Autobot symbol, which looks nice and clean, very cool, and that honeycomb pattern behind him. Some vents on the side. Now he is looking to where he's shooting, but here's also, again, the eye pattern I was talking to you about. I like his portrait. Looks strong. He does have the battle mask up. Some more boosters up here. Overall, just so much cool stuff going on. There's a few things that I think could have been done better, but this is definitely superb overall. Check out the sword here. So I think they wanted to make it almost like an Energon sword. That's why it is this particular color. And I think it does better than some of the other pieces they've made. I like the jaggedy aspect to it. And his shotgun over here. Double barrel. It's obviously not a shotgun, but looks pretty cool. Details on his fingers. We're going to talk about price in a second, but you can definitely see why it costs so much. The question is more about resale value that we'll talk about. Paint, they do really well with these Transformer pieces. I think the paint is definitely a strong 4 out of 5, maybe even possibly a weak 5 out of 5, but we're going to stick with the 4 out of 5 for the rating for some of the reasons we talked about. And unfortunately, I think, well, most of Grimlock would be that 5 out of 5 on the sculpt. There is a little bit of stuff that I just wasn't digging that we saw, so I'm going to give that another strong 4 out of 5. One could argue it's a weak 5 out of 5. So is this beast worth it? This guy costs a lot of money. He is 2,500 Singapore dollars, which is about 1,900 US before you pay the $500 shipping fee. Now this piece came out a while ago and mine was on a boat for about 4 months, which I elected the boat option because shipping was quite a bit cheaper on this piece. I nabbed him at Cosmic Chase Collectibles, one of my go-tos for XM Studios. In fact, the Soundwave I have coming tomorrow is also for them. Their customer service is second to none. If you pay express shipping, you're usually one of the first to get it, which is fantastic. And they offer great competitive prices. So there is a non-affiliate link in the description below. I don't get anything if you click on it, but definitely check them out. Very reliable, very trustworthy, one of my favorites for sure. So the $2,500 I'm all in. Is he worth it? They made 400 of these. Lied to you again. I was rounding. It's 399. They made 399 of these. Now, a lot of people won't be able to buy this, even though it is incredible and badass, simply because it does take up so much room. However, Transformers Generation 1, and especially Grimlock, have kind of a cult following from all of us nerds that now have money. So if I wanted to make my money back on this, I have to get $2,500 and the buyer would have to pay for shipping. So probably close to $3,000 just to get my money back. I think if I was patient, I could do that, but not necessarily make a big profit. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 on the value. Although this is arguably XM Studios' largest Transformer piece. Now, does this have the X Factor? That's a totally different scale. Is this badass? Are you impressed when you walk by it? Yes, absolutely. This is a 5 out of 5 for me. I cannot wait to see what he's going to look like next to Devastator. And again, I've redone my entire room. All the Generation 1 Transformers are right next to each other, so make sure to stay tuned to check that out. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Transformer statue? Is this one it? I think that Starscream still beats him, in my opinion, despite his massive awesomeness. But let me know in the comments, because you could win a statue with that comment. We will be giving all of these statues away, plus additional ones at every 5,000 subscriber milestone. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you subscribe because we have some awesome stuff coming up, some end of the year countdowns, some beginning of the year countdowns, an awesome live New Year's Eve segment. It's not really live, but it's a premiere, so you'll be able to chat and participate with myself and everybody else. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, drop me a like. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.